Belladonna never truly slept. Even at 3 a.m., the city breathed like a living creature. Neon signs flickered through rainstorms. Sirens echoed endlessly through narrow streets. Jazz music drifted from underground clubs where gangsters smoked cigars beneath red lights. But underneath the glamour lived fear. Real fear. The kind of fear that made grown men whisper. The kind that made police officers refuse promotions. The kind that forced politicians to lower their voices whenever one specific name entered conversation. The Ghost Dawn. Nobody knew when the stories began. Some claimed he arrived in Belladonna during the 1970s after fleeing Sicily. Others believed he was once a government agent. A few older gangsters insisted the Ghost Dawn had ruled the city for over 50 years without aging. But every version of the story shared one detail. Nobody was allowed to look at him. And every person who did, regret it. Marco Vieri had worked as the Don's driver for 7 years. That alone was considered miraculous. Most drivers never survived beyond a few months. Every morning Marco repeated the rules to himself like prayers. Keep the car clean. Never speak first. Never stop for police. Never touch the rearview mirror. Especially the last one. Tonight the rain hammered Belladonna harder than usual. The limousine moved silently through downtown while civilians immediately lowered their heads upon seeing it. A homeless man accidentally looked up. One of the Don's guards stepped out at the next red light and handed the man an envelope. Inside was cash. Enough to leave the city forever. The message was simple. Disappear before sunrise. Marco gripped the wheel tighter. The Don believed fear worked better when mixed with mercy. That made him even more terrifying. As the limousine crossed Blackwater Bridge, Marco heard something strange behind him. Breathing. Heavy breathing. Not one person. Several. Marco frowned slightly. The Don always traveled alone. Slowly, carefully, Marco's eyes drifted upward toward the rearview mirror. Only for a second. And in that second, he saw movement. Several faces sitting together in darkness. Different ages. Different expressions. Different men. All wearing the same black suit. Marco's blood turned cold. Then every face slowly turned toward him at the exact same moment. The limousine suddenly filled with whispers. You looked. Marco jerked his eyes away instantly. Sweat poured down his face. The whispers stopped. Silence returned. Then the Don's calm voice emerged from the darkness. Drive. Marco obeyed. But deep inside, he knew something terrible had just happened. Elena Torres had spent her entire career chasing monsters. Corrupt senators. Human traffickers. Serial killers. Dirty cops. But none fascinated her like the Ghost Dawn. Because unlike other criminals, nobody could prove he existed. There were no fingerprints. No bank accounts. No photographs. No confirmed recordings. It was as if Belladonna itself erased evidence for him. That only made Elena more obsessed. Inside her apartment, newspaper clippings covered every wall. Missing persons. Burned warehouses. Mass executions. Political assassinations. All connected by red strings leading to one name, the Ghost Dawn. Her editor thought she was losing her mind. You're chasing a ghost, he warned. No, Elena replied quietly. I'm chasing the people hiding behind the ghost. That sentence changed everything. Because Elena had started noticing patterns. Every decade Belladonna suffered a massive gang war. And after every war, a new Ghost Dawn emerged. Different height, different voice, different habits. almost as if the identity itself changed owners. Elena leaned closer to an old photograph. A mob funeral from 1986. Standing in the background was a tall, shadowy figure, face hidden beneath a black hat. Every person nearby looked downward, terrified. Then Elena noticed something horrifying. The exact same figure appeared in photographs taken 20 years apart. Without aging. Impossible. Unless the ghost Don wasn't one person. Father Gabriel stopped sleeping years ago. Confessions ruin sleep, especially confessions from killers. Tonight the church was empty except for Luca Moretti, one of Belladonna's deadliest enforcers. Luca sat inside the confession booth soaked in blood. Father Gabriel sighed. Whose blood this time? Luca didn't answer immediately. Finally he whispered, I think the Don knows everything. The priest frowned. What do you mean? I mean everything. Luca's breathing shook. We found a traitor tonight. And he confessed before we touched him. That happens. No, Luca whispered. He confessed things nobody knew. Father Gabriel remained silent. Luca continued nervously. The Don whispered in his ear. And the man started crying. Luca's eyes filled with fear. He confessed to murdering his own brother when he was 12 years old. The priest froze. That secret was never written anywhere. Luca nodded slowly. There's more. What? The Don answered questions before people asked them. Father Gabriel stared into darkness. Then Luca whispered the sentence haunting him most. I don't think there's only one man under that suit. The Velvet Room was Belladonna's most dangerous nightclub. Politicians gambled there beside assassins. Judges drank whiskey beside cartel leaders. And every single person followed one rule. If the ghost Don enters, look down immediately. At 1:13 a.m., the music stopped abruptly. Panic spread across the casino floor. The Don had arrived. Hundreds of people lowered their eyes instantly. Even armed gangsters looked terrified. The ghost Don walked through the room slowly while violin music played overhead. His black gloves reflected dim chandelier light. Nobody spoke. Nobody breathed. Then disaster struck. A young waitress accidentally turned around while carrying drinks. Her eyes met the Don's face for less than a second. The tray shattered instantly. The girl stumbled backward in horror. Her entire body began shaking violently. "Oh God!" she whispered. Tears streamed down her face. "No! That's impossible." The Don stood perfectly still. The waitress suddenly screamed so loudly the entire casino froze. Then she grabbed a broken bottle and stabbed herself in the neck repeatedly. Blood exploded across the marble floor. People panicked. Guards rushed forward. But the Don simply watched silently. As the girl died choking on blood, she kept repeating one sentence over and over. "There's more than one." Then she died. And every person in the casino became even more terrified than before. 3 weeks later, Elena discovered hidden tunnels beneath Belladonna's abandoned opera house. The deeper she went underground, the stranger things became. Old Mafia symbols covered walls. Hidden surveillance cameras tracked every hallway. Then Elena found a steel door, locked electronically. After bypassing the system, she entered slowly and froze. The room looked like a war command center. Maps covered entire walls. Photographs hung everywhere. Government officials connected through red strings. Secret bank accounts. Blackmail files. At the center stood a giant table surrounded by 13 empty chairs. Each chair had a raven carved into it. Then Elena noticed portraits hanging overhead. 13 portraits, each showing a different man, different faces, different ages, different nationalities. But every portrait carried the same title beneath it, the Ghost Dawn. Elena's heart nearly stopped. The Dawn wasn't a person. It was a council, an organization, a machine built from fear itself. Suddenly the lights shut off. Darkness swallowed the room. Then footsteps echoed behind her. Slow, calm, intentional. A voice whispered from the darkness. You were never supposed to find this PL. Ace. Elena awoke tied to a chair beneath a single hanging light bulb. Across from her sat a figure hidden behind black silk curtains. The Ghost Dawn, or one of them. You've caused us many problems, the voice said calmly. Who are you people? Elena demanded. Silence. Then another voice answered from a different corner. We are order. A third voice spoke behind her. We are fear. A fourth whispered near her ear. We are Belladonna. Elena's pulse exploded. There were multiple people surrounding her in darkness, watching silently. Then one stepped into the light. An elderly man with burn scars covering half his face. We all wear the suit eventually, he explained calmly. You're insane. No, the old man smiled. We are necessary. Then he revealed the truth. Decades earlier, Belladonna nearly collapsed during endless gang wars. Thousands died. Police lost control. The wealthy elite secretly created the Ghost Dawn organization to unite the criminal underworld through terror. Fear became law, and it worked. The city stabilized. Crime became organized, predictable, controlled. But why hide your faces? Elena asked. The old man smiled slowly. Because fear grows stronger when imagination finishes the picture. Then another figure stepped forward. Younger, tall, wearing black gloves. Luca Moretti. Elena stared in shock. You? Luca looked devastated. I didn't choose this. The old man placed a hand on Luca's shoulder. But you were chosen. Luca learned the truth when he was 14 years old. His father had once served the organization. Before dying, he told Luca one sentence. One day they'll come for you. Years later they did. The Ghost Dawn Council watched Luca grow from childhood. Every fight, every murder, every loyalty test, everything prepared him for succession. Because becoming the Ghost Dawn required 3 things: absolute fearlessness, absolute loyalty, and absolute isolation. Once chosen, your old life ended forever. No family, no love, no identity. Only the suit remained. Luca hated them for it. But part of him understood the terrifying genius behind the system. One Dawn could die. An idea could not. And Belladonna feared the idea more than any man. When rival families learned the truth about the council, chaos exploded across Belladonna. Every gangster wanted power. Every capo wanted the throne. And suddenly the city became a battlefield. Car bombs destroyed nightclubs. Judges vanished from armored convoys. Police stations burned overnight. Entire streets became war zones. The Ghost Dawn Council declared martial rule over the criminal underworld. Any betrayal meant death. Publicly, brutally. At the harbor docks, 17 traders knelt before the council while rain poured endlessly. This time all 13 Ghost Dawns appeared together wearing identical black suits. The sight alone terrified hardened killers. One trader looked upward accidentally. His face immediately twisted in horror. No, he whispered. Then he began laughing hysterically. Blood streamed from his nose. "They're all the same." Bang! A bullet silenced him instantly. The executions continued beneath thunder and violin music. And Belladonna drowned in fear. Deep beneath the opera house, Elena uncovered one final hidden chamber. Inside sat thousands of videotapes. She played one, then another, each revealed horrifying truths. Politicians helping create massacres. Police chiefs arranging assassinations. Judges protecting drug empires. And every major figure in Belladonna secretly serving the Ghost Dawn organization. But the final tape terrified Elena most. It showed children being trained, prepared, conditioned, future Ghost Dawns. Luca appeared in one recording as a child. Then Elena understood. The organization planned generations ahead. The Ghost Dawn would never disappear, because Belladonna itself depended on him. Then slow clapping echoed behind her. The oldest member of the council emerged smiling. "You finally understand. You built a prison," Elena whispered. "No," he corrected calmly. "We built civilization." Gunfire exploded above them. The final war had begun. The opera house erupted into chaos. Explosions tore through hallways. Masked assassins stormed underground tunnels. Machine guns thundered through darkness. The 13 Ghost Dons attempted escape while rival families hunted them relentlessly. Luca fought beside Elena through collapsing corridors. "Why are you helping me?" she shouted. "Because they lied to me my whole life." Behind them, council members were executed one by one. The empire collapsed rapidly. But before escaping, Luca stopped suddenly. "What is it?" Elena asked. Luca stared ahead in terror. At the end of the hallway stood a man wearing the original Ghost Dawn suit. Completely still. Watching. The oldest Don smiled weakly. "You cannot destroy fear, Luca." Then he removed his gloves slowly. Underneath, his hands were perfectly normal. No scars. No burns. Nothing supernatural. Just an ordinary old man. And somehow that made him even scarier. "People need monsters," he whispered. Then he detonated explosives hidden beneath the opera house. The underground world collapsed instantly. Fire consumed everything. Darkness swallowed Belladonna. 3 days later, authorities searched the ruins. Hundreds of bodies were recovered. None belonged to Luca or Elena. The media declared the Ghost Dawn organization destroyed forever. Belladonna celebrated. For a while. Then strange things began happening again. Gangsters started disappearing. Corrupt politicians received Black Raven coins in the mail. Judges suddenly resigned. Fear returned quietly. And one rainy night, a black limousine drove slowly through downtown Belladonna. Pedestrians immediately lowered their eyes. Store owners shut their windows. Nobody dared look. Inside the limousine sat a figure wearing black gloves. Watching silently, the driver spoke nervously. "Where to?" A familiar female voice answered softly from the darkness. "The Velvet Room." The limousine vanished into the rain. And Belladonna obeyed the rule once more. Never look at the mob. "Boss, so what do you think really happened after the opera house exploded? Did Elena become the new Ghost Dawn? Did Luca survive? Was the organization truly destroyed? Or merely reborn? And if fear controls a city better than laws, was the Ghost Dawn actually evil? Comment your theories below. And don't forget to subscribe for more dark mafia thrillers, suspense mysteries, criminal empires, underground conspiracies, and unforgettable fictional stories.